What if Anakin became the Emperor? In Revenge of the Sith, we witness Anakin's fall to the dark side and how he lost his duel against Obi-Wan Kenobi. As a result, he was burned so badly, he was forced to be trapped in a prison of a suit for the rest of his life and was nothing more than just a tool to his own master, Darth Sidious. But what if things were different? What if Anakin became the Emperor and he was the one to rule the galaxy, not Sidious? Well, in this alternate timeline, that's exactly what we'll be diving into, so let's get right into it. Our story begins just moments after Anakin wiped out the Separatist leaders on the lava planet of Mustafar. One by one, he slaughtered each and every leader, and with each strike of his blade, his power in the dark side only grew stronger. However, there was just one problem. Although he looked fearless on the outside, deep inside he was terrified for Padme's life. He had to find a way to save her from death. Why hadn't his new master helped him already? He's proved his loyalty. He's done everything Lord Sidious has asked for so far. He wiped out every Jedi at the temple. He slaughtered the Separatist leaders. What else is he supposed to do? Was Sidious just using him as a tool, just as he did with Count Dooku? Anakin wasn't sure, but he needed answers and he was starting to get impatient. He had to learn the truth of how to save Padme, one way or another. If that meant overthrowing his master, so be it. Anakin was ready. However, this is now where our story is different from the original. As Anakin walked back into the room where he slaughtered the Separatists, he decided to contact his master to inform him of his recent updates. Although he still had thoughts about overthrowing Sidious, Anakin refused to speak a word about it. If his plan were to work, he had to wait until the right moment.
The Separatists have been taken care of, my master.
It is finished then. You have restored peace and justice to the galaxy, Lord Vader.
That is my sole ambition, Master.
Lord Vader, I sense a disturbance in the Force. You may be in danger.
How could I be in danger, Master?
I cannot say, but the danger is real. Be mindful.
Anakin snarled. Maybe you should be mindful, he thought to himself.
I will, my master. Thank you.
Palpatine's image faded. From there, Anakin went deep in thought. He had enough. He was tired of Sidious already making him do all his dirty work for him while he just sat in his office doing nothing. Now he had the audacity to tell him to be careful? He promised he'd save Padme's life. Where was that at? Anakin swelled with rage. At that moment, he knew it was time. If he were to save Padme, he'd have to get his answers one way or another, even if it meant killing Sidious. So at that moment, he came to terms that he had to leave Mustafar and confront his master himself on Coruscant. However, before he could act, he heard a noise. It seemed like there was a ship approaching the landing platform. Not just any ship though, that was Padme's ship. So Anakin rushed out, and from there, he hugged Padme right away. However, in this timeline, Anakin had no intention of staying on Mustafar. He had to go to Coruscant and confront the Emperor, even if it meant leaving his wife behind.
What are you doing out here?
I was so worried about you. Obi-Wan told me terrible things.
What things?
He said that you've turned to the dark side. That you killed younglings.
Obi-Wan is trying to turn you against me. Now, Padme, I have to leave.
Where are you going?
Going back to Coruscant. I'm going to end the Emperor's rule once and for all, and I will learn the secret to saving you from death. Once this is all over, we can do anything we want.
Anakin, is that what this is all about? Please, enough of all of this. Come away with me. Help me raise our child. Leave everything else behind while we still can.
No, Padme. I refuse to lose you the way I lost my mother. Now I have to go.
Anakin looked up. It was him. It was Obi-Wan. Anakin had hatred. He had anger. He thought to himself, she sided with him?
You're with him. You brought him here to kill me.
Out of nowhere, Anakin force choked Padme. His grip got harder and harder, but then he stopped. Anakin let go and Padme dropped to the ground. However, as she did, Anakin went deep in thought. As he stared at her body, he realized he was left with two choices. He could either stay here and fight Obi-Wan to get his revenge, or he could do what really mattered, overthrowing the Emperor and learning the secret to saving Padme from death.
Anakin, you've lied to her by saying that you want to learn how to save her from death, yet you're the reason why she's unconscious on the floor right now. You don't want to confront Sidious to save her. You want to confront him for your own power.
You are the one who turned her against me!
You have done that yourself. Your anger and your lust for power have already done that.
Anakin paused. He had to leave this planet. Going back and forth with Obi-Wan was just wasting time. One day he would get his revenge on his former master, but now wasn't that time.
Go ahead, Obi-Wan. Go be the hero and bring her to safety. I have more pressing matters to attend to.
Anakin began to walk away and started heading towards his ship. At that moment, Obi-Wan was left with a choice. He could either face Anakin right there and fight him himself, or save Padme's life and get her medical attention right away. Obi-Wan had never been pressed with a more difficult decision. By going to fight Anakin, he could put a stop to his terror over the galaxy, but that would also mean risking getting Padme the help she needed to stay alive. Obi-Wan thought about Qui-Gon. He thought about Satine. He thought about all the people he believed he failed in the past after they died in his arms. He couldn't let that happen again. No, he just couldn't. So, Obi-Wan rushed over to Padme, and with the help of C-3PO and R2-D2, they helped bring her aboard her ship. With that, Anakin was left alone, and with nobody stopping him, he then set off for Coruscant. As he arrived, he rushed right to the Senate building where Palpatine's office was located. But there was one problem. When he arrived, he heard something that shocked him to his core. Lightsabers clashing, Senate pods being thrown left and right, Force lightning even. What was going on, he thought to himself. Anakin hid in one of the hallways of the Senate building. He wasn't sure what was happening. The sounds only got louder and louder, especially the Force lightning. For a brief moment, it's all he heard. Then, Anakin heard a thump on the ground and even heard Sidious cackling. From there, all the noises he heard were gone. Everything was pure silence. Now was his chance. Whatever had happened clearly was finished, and it was now time for Anakin to take control. As he walked into the Senate chambers, it was there where he witnessed Darth Sidious dangling from one of the pods. Right away, Sidious saw Anakin walk in and yelled,
Lord Vader, don't let him escape! Don't just stand there!
Anakin ignored him, and without hesitation, he approached his pod. As Sidious looked up, it was there where he witnessed the unthinkable. Before he knew it, Anakin's blue saber was pointed right at his face.
Lord Vader, what are you doing?
I'll give you one last chance, my master. Tell me how to save Padme from death, or suffer the consequences.
Palpatine struggled to speak. He was still clinging on to the edge of the pod.
Lord Vader, I told you we'll discover the secret together, but it will take time, my old friend.
Enough! I want answers now.
You kill me now, and you'll never be able to save her. You need me more than you know.
Without hesitation, Anakin sliced both of Palpatine's hands off. With no more grip on the pod, Palpatine fell down to the bottom of the chambers, leading to his death. It was over. Emperor Palpatine was dead. With that, Anakin was now in control of this galaxy, and nobody was left to stop him. As the new emperor, he'd now have all the resources possible to save Padme from death, and he was going to make sure of it. He didn't need Sidious, he had everything he needed. Everything had gone according to his plan, and Anakin couldn't be more satisfied.
Now, the galaxy belongs to me.
As time passed, Anakin left the chambers and contacted Palpatine's advisor, Amedda.
Lord Vader, we have not heard a word from Emperor Palpatine, and have been unable to contact him. Where is he?
Your emperor is dead, Grand Vizier. I am your emperor now.
What are you talking about? I demand to speak to...
I said, I am your emperor now. But don't worry, if you refuse to follow my orders, I'll ensure that you suffer the same fate as him.
Amedda went quiet.
I'm sure you wouldn't want that, right?
No, sir.
Good. Now I want every active clone battalion in every sector in the Outer Rim to search for the Jedi Master, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Make sure it is done.
But, sir, shouldn't we be targeting all the Jedi, not just one?
Are you questioning my orders, Grand Vizier?
No, sir.
Good. Now, knowing Kenobi well enough, he'll be attempting to bring Senator Padme Amidala to a nearby medical facility. Use any means necessary, but I want him found and captured, while ensuring that Amidala remains unharmed. Is that understood?
It will be done, Lord Vader.
Over the next few days, Anakin's order was initiated, but unfortunately for him, it failed. His very first order as Emperor of the Galaxy failed completely. Unfortunately for Anakin, he was too late. During the time his clone battalions were searching for both Obi-Wan and Padme, it was reported that she died at the medical facility on Polis Massa. However, it only gets worse. Not only did she die, but her unborn child also died along with her. Or at least, that's what the report said. Anakin nor the Empire didn't know the full truth. They didn't know that although Padme died, her children lived on and were now in hiding with both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Bail Organa. Because of how dangerous Anakin was, Bail, Obi-Wan, and Yoda had to make sure that the children would be kept hidden and their identities were kept a secret. If Anakin ever found out about this, the children's futures could be doomed, so they did whatever they could to protect them. Now, days later, Anakin swelled up with rage after hearing about Padme's death. Part of him was angry, part of him was heartbroken, and part of him was regretful. He thought to himself, did he make the right decision by killing Sidious? What if he let him live? Could they have discovered the secret to saving Padme's life together? Anakin thought that by being Emperor, he'd have all the resources to save her. But he failed. He failed his own wife. However, Anakin quickly erased these thoughts. It was too late. Emotions would just slow him down. He had a galaxy to rule now, and nothing would stand in his way. However, one thing remained though. If he were to continue to rule this galaxy as the new Emperor, he would need to come up with a story to tell the Senate. Right now, there were different rumors going around, including one that mentioned that it was Anakin himself who killed Emperor Palpatine. So, Anakin had to address these rumors, and even more than that, gain the trust of the galaxy. As time passed, the Senate hearing was held and Anakin stood on the podium in front of everyone. However, as he did, whispers spread throughout the arena. Many members of the Senate questioned what really happened that night and who was truly responsible for Palpatine's death. Little did they know though, they were about to get their answer.
Order! We shall have order!
Leaders of the Senate, I thank you for your patience over the past few days as we enter a transitional period for our galactic empire. However, that is not the reason why I stand before you today. The reason I am here is because of the death of our former leader, Emperor Palpatine. Now I know his death came as a shock to you, as it did to me as well. However, not many know the truth. The truth about what actually happened that night. After I returned back to Coruscant that evening, it was there where I witnessed the unthinkable. In front of me was the former Grand Master of the Jedi Order, Yoda, killing the Emperor with nothing but his bare hands and his lightsaber.
The crowd gasped. Everybody was shocked. They couldn't believe what they just heard.
The Jedi not only betrayed the Republic, but they also killed our Emperor. Now they are an enemy to our galactic empire. As your newly appointed Emperor, I will ensure that the remaining Jedi across the galaxy will be hunted down and defeated. With my first act as your Emperor, I introduce to you our new organization, the Inquisitorius. With the help of the Imperial Inquisition, they will be tasked in hunting down any remaining Jedi spread throughout the galaxy. With their help, I promise you, peace and justice will be restored to this galaxy.
The crowd roared. Everyone cheered. Anakin was once seen as a hero during the time of the Republic, and now he was a hero of the new Galactic Empire. However, only a few knew the truth. Only a few knew what actually happened that night and the truth about everything that Anakin did. 10 years had passed since Anakin became the Emperor, and everything had gone according to his plan. The Empire was now at the height of its power, and more than ever, Anakin had a grip on the galaxy with an iron fist. Just like he promised, his Inquisitors continued to deal with the remaining Jedi across the galaxy and did their best to leave no survivors. However, at times, Anakin would take matters into his own hands and also hunt Jedi himself. Just like in the Clone Wars, he thrived from being on the battlefield, so he'd spend a lot of his time out there. Not only that, but instead of having stormtroopers like what Palpatine eventually planned to do, Anakin kept his clone troopers around instead. In his eyes, the clones were more elite soldiers than just random recruits, so he kept the clone army and it only grew by the day. To ensure the production of clones never stopped, he made sure that the Kaminoans continued to breed thousands of new clones daily, which only made the Empire even stronger. However, over this decade there was one big change. Anakin looked a bit different now. Instead of brown Jedi robes like before, he now wore a black tunic and had a new crimson red lightsaber. Using all his anger and hatred in the Force, he was able to bleed his blue crystal to form the color of red. With that, Anakin had truly become stronger in the dark side and was a dominant emperor. But there was one issue. Although nobody knew it, Anakin still mourned the death of his wife each and every day. Despite him trying his best to hide it, he loved Padme. She was his everything. So, over the past decade, Anakin would sometimes visit her tomb back on Naboo just to feel close to her. Although he still never knew the truth about how she died that night or that she gave birth to twins, Anakin still carried guilt. He felt guilty for leaving her behind that night and letting her stay with Obi-Wan. So, while he dominated the galaxy as Emperor, Anakin still made it a priority to hunt down and locate Obi-Wan Kenobi. Part of him wanted revenge on his old master, but also a part of him wanted to torture him until he finally revealed what happened that night. At the time, Anakin sensed that Padme was still alive, so she couldn't have died because of him, right? Did Obi-Wan kill her? If not, who did? Anakin wasn't sure, so he made it a priority to get his answers. While hunting other Jedi was still important to him, Kenobi was the main target. Luckily for Anakin, his plan eventually worked. After years of hunting, the search for Kenobi finally came to an end. Obi-Wan Kenobi was found.
Yes, Grand Inquisitor.
Lord Vader, I am pleased to inform you that the hunt for Obi-Wan Kenobi has now come to a close. We have received an anonymous tip that he was last seen roaming the streets of Mos Eisley on the planet Tatooine.
Tatooine?
Yes, my lord.
Anakin froze. For so long, he always avoided Tatooine because of all the pain it would bring him. He experienced so much horror there. The painful memories, the loss, the suffering, everything.
Good work, Grand Inquisitor.
The fourth sister and fifth brother are ready and prepared to head there now, on your command, my lord.
No, I will deal with Kenobi myself. Tell them to stand down.
Yes, my lord.
As Anakin hung up, he then went deep in thought. Tatooine? What could Obi-Wan be possibly doing on Tatooine? Was this some sort of joke? Why would the person that he hated most be on that dust ball of a planet? He wasn't sure, but he was ready to find out. With that, Anakin did something he hadn't done in years. He returned to his home planet of Tatooine. As Anakin set off for Tatooine, he brought a team of his KX security droids along with him. Although he wanted to fight Kenobi himself, he wanted to strike fear into anybody that stood in his way. If any civilian did not comply or showed any sign of disobedience to the Empire while he tried to find Kenobi, the droids would take care of them. So, as Anakin arrived at the spaceport of Mos Eisley, he stood up and spoke to his team of droids.
I want each and every one of you to check every home, every business, and every door. You will not rest until Kenobi is found. Any intel is valuable. If any citizen refuses to comply, kill them on sight. They must understand that loyalty is rewarded. Disobedience will only result in punishment. I myself will be checking the outskirts.
The droids nodded.
Oh, and one last thing. Once you're finished your search, burn this town to the ground.
The droids nodded again, and from there they followed their orders. As time passed, Anakin spent hours and hours searching along the outskirts of Tatooine. Although he had no luck in finding Kenobi yet, little did he know his search was about to come to an end. As Anakin approached what looked like a cave of some sort, he then heard a voice.
I heard whispers that you were here. It seemed like the rumors were true.
Anakin turned around. It was him, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Out of all places. Why here, old man?
You would never understand.
Oh, but I would. I came here for one reason and one reason only, Obi-Wan. What happened to Padme that night? How did she die?
She died because of you, Anakin. Nobody else.
Enough lies! That's all you and the other Jedi Council members have ever done. Now I'll give you one last chance. Tell me what happened.
I already told you. If you're too blind to see it, then my friend is truly dead.
Anakin Skywalker has been dead for a long time now.
No, he's not. He's standing right here in front of me and has never left. He's simply consumed by darkness and by a lie.
Enough! If you won't tell me what happened to her, then I'll just have to resort to another means of interrogation.
I will do what I must.
You will try.
With that, Anakin leaped backwards and it was now a rematch between the former master and apprentice. The battle between brothers took place in the desert sands of Tatooine, and as they clashed sabers, their duel looked identical to how it did on Mustafar. However, there was one difference. Since their last encounter, Anakin's skills in the dark side had only gotten stronger, while Obi-Wan had only gotten weaker over these years. He didn't keep up with his lightsaber training the past decade, as the only thing that mattered to him was watching over Anakin's own son, Luke. So, as the two went back and forth, Anakin became stronger and stronger with every strike of his blade. Obi-Wan just couldn't keep up. His former apprentice was just too powerful. They kept clashing and clashing when all of a sudden, Anakin finally got the upper hand on Obi-Wan. Using all his anger towards his former master, he knocked his saber out of his hands and out of nowhere. Unleashing a bolt of Force lightning, Anakin brought Obi-Wan right to the ground. As he did, he started laughing.
It seems you've underestimated the power of the dark side, old man.
Anakin kept frying Obi-Wan with Force lightning. He was just too powerful. Obi-Wan couldn't do anything. So as he kept frying and frying his old master, Anakin finally stopped. Then he pointed his saber right at Obi-Wan's throat.
I'll give you one final chance. Tell me now, how did she die?
I already told you, Anakin. You killed her.
Obi-Wan struggled to speak. He felt so weak.
After you left the landing platform, I rushed her to the medical facility on Polis Massa. Yoda and I looked after her. However, she
what?
She lost the will to live, Anakin. She chose death rather than to see what you became. Her final words to me were that there was still good in you. I suppose she was wrong.
Anakin's eyes blazed with orange and yellow. He was filled with rage.
You're right. She was wrong.
Anakin, I know you're there. I know my friend is in there somewhere. Please, for...
Obi-Wan stopped himself.
For who?
Obi-Wan went quiet. At that moment, he came to terms that he wasn't the one that would bring Anakin back to the light. He just couldn't get to him. He knew that his best friend was still there deep within, but he wouldn't be the one to turn him. However, there was one person that could. Anakin's own son, Luke. Obi-Wan believed that one day when Luke was older, he would be the one to bring Anakin back to the light, but he himself could not. He failed.
For who?
For your son.
Obi-Wan knew better than to reveal that Anakin had twins. Leia would be kept a secret, but Luke on the other hand was different. Obi-Wan wanted Anakin to know about Luke. He wanted him to know that he had a child. He wanted him to know that he still had a choice to make things right. Anakin froze. He felt numb.
I have a son?
As he said this, the unexpected happened. Out of nowhere, Anakin's eyes shifted from a Sith yellow back to his natural blue. Obi-Wan thought to himself, wait, did he do it? Was his friend really back?
I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it.
Anakin put his head down. Then he looked up, but this time his eyes blazed once again with orange and yellow. No, he wasn't back. Anakin was truly corrupted.
Where is he now?
Anakin had enough. He was tired of Obi-Wan's games. Any minute now, he was ready to strike him down. Little did Anakin know though, Obi-Wan came prepared. He knew this might happen, and he knew he might have lost this duel, so he did the unthinkable. Before Anakin arrived, Obi-Wan sent Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru coordinates to the Dagobah system. It was there where they would be safe and be under the guidance of Master Yoda, who would train Luke himself in the ways of the Force. Although Owen didn't like this idea at first, both he and Beru came to terms that it was for the best. Not only for the protection of their family, but also for the future of this galaxy.
He's gone, Anakin. You can try all you want, but you'll never find him.
Anakin pointed his saber even closer.
Strike me down now, and I'll become more powerful than you'll ever imagine.
Enough!
I love you, Anakin. I always have. I always will.
At that moment, Obi-Wan accepted his fate. He knew what was next. With one swift strike, Anakin struck his lightsaber right through Obi-Wan's tunic, but he disappeared. Obi-Wan was gone. He was nowhere to be found. His body was gone. Although Anakin felt joy from killing his master, he was terrified. Was this some sort of trick, he thought to himself? Anakin's thoughts quickly shifted. He didn't have time to waste. Obi-Wan's death was irrelevant. He now had to find his son, by any means necessary. Emotions rushed through him. Anakin was filled with rage. He thought to himself, clearly Obi-Wan was here on Tatooine for a reason. Clearly, Obi-Wan was watching over his son here. Was Obi-Wan trying to hide his own son from him on Tatooine of all places? Anakin needed answers. So he quickly rushed back to his shuttle in Mos Eisley, but as he arrived, he witnessed the unthinkable. Mos Eisley was destroyed. Just like he ordered his KX droids to do, the entire town was now engulfed in flames. Although Anakin had other things on his mind, he couldn't help but love the sight of what he was witnessing. A town that caused him so much pain and suffering was now destroyed. Anakin loved this feeling. It felt thrilling. However, this feeling now sparked something in him. He wanted more. He didn't want to stop there. He wanted to terrorize this galaxy and get revenge on anybody that stood in his path. So with that, Anakin contacted the Grand Inquisitor right away.
Yes, Lord Vader.
Grand Inquisitor, I have urgent news to share with you. On the run is a Force-sensitive boy, about the age of 10. His last whereabouts were here, on Tatooine, but it is unknown if he is still present on this planet. I want you and your team of Inquisitors to hunt down and locate this boy, but he is to remain unharmed. I want him alive. Is that understood?
Yes, Lord Vader.
Oh, and one last thing, Grand Inquisitor. Once you've finished your search of Tatooine, contact Grand Moff Tarkin. Tell him to deploy a squadron of TIE bombers to the planet. I want Tatooine turned into glass.
It will be done, my lord.